this is your first time seeing us, I am Kari, and I am here with Roxy.
Hello.
And we are both coaches. We love to coach in the space of life, relationships, those kinds of fun things. And so we are bringing this conversation to you to share some of the things that we are hearing from people. If you have a question, you are welcome to send a question into us. We are paying attention to who the people we are seeing and helping, and bringing you some general concepts so that we can talk through them and share with you guys the things that we are hearing and what our take is on how to help this feel better. And as always, we will come from the position of we can only change us. We can't change someone else. So the work that anything that we share with you, take it from the space of how can I use this, not, oh, I know someone who needs to hear this, which we kind of sometimes jump to that when we hear good stuff. Oh, I know someone who needs to hear that. But really pause and take it in and see, ooh, how can I use this? What does this mean to me? In what relationship could I use what's going on in this conversation to make things better for me and then the people that I interact with? So, okay.
Yes.
Roxy, what are we going to talk about?
Well, that actually is a perfect segue into our question for today. Gosh, I think that if you're listening to this, you have probably already started your spiritual journey. You are well along the path and you are absorbing information for your personal spiritual growth. So congratulations. Thank you for being here. But it can be really, really challenging in our relationships if people are not on the same path. Right? Just like Kari was saying, as we find these little golden nuggets and we find inspiration in them and we find the ways that they help us, of course, we want to share it with everybody. Like, I am notorious if I go to a restaurant and I try something that is amazing, I want to like force feed it to everybody because I'm like, this has brought me so much joy. You have to experience this, right? But just because I like it doesn't mean that you're going to like it. Just because I'm ready doesn't mean that my partner is ready. It doesn't mean that my mom is ready. Doesn't mean that my family, my friends are ready. And this is so hard because I think so often, especially in our romantic partnerships, we really hold ourselves back in service of our partner's growth, right? Like, I can't do until they do. I can't leave them behind, or I don't want to get left behind. And what I see a lot in the couples that I work with is one partner coming in and saying, will you tell them?
Yeah, right?
You get it, Roxy. You're on the path. You tell them. I'm like, well, their path is different. Their timing is different. And it's really important that we respect that. I think the more that we try to force feed people growth, the more they resist it. And that really puts up a huge wall between you and the other person in your relationship. So my question is always, what are you hoping to accomplish in this conversation? What is it that you want? And usually the answers that I'll get back is, I just want them to fill in the blank, right? It's all about the other person. And just like you mentioned earlier, Kari, everything that we are giving you is intended for you. It is intended for you. And if you think that there's someone in your life that can benefit from this, I think that's wonderful. Yes, go ahead, share it, plant the seed. But you are not responsible for how that other person receives the message. It's important. Go ahead, share it, and then let them do with it as they will. Be a supportive partner, just like you want your partner to be supportive of you. Yeah?
Yeah. So as I think about like how to have like conversations, one of the things that I encourage people to do is to ask questions. Let me finish my sentence. Is to ask questions. So rather than going to a partner or a friend with suggestions, advice, oh, I think this is what you should do, right? That just puts up walls that then people get defensive of. But when we can ask questions and create a very safe space for conversation, safe space to explore how do you feel about this? What is, and I'm trying to think of like what would be specific scenarios, and I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but asking questions of a partner that we're wanting to like, hey, I'm on this journey. Do you have any questions for me about what I'm learning? Or how do you feel about this concept? Hey, I learned this. How does that feel to you? Something like that. And being very curious about where someone else is, because there's way less opportunity to put up walls and get defensive when you're responding to a question, especially if we come into it creating a safe space and there's no snark or tone to the question, right? Like if we're not being snarky about it, we're coming with love and real curiosity for, oh, how do you feel about this? How do you feel like we're doing together on this? What are your thoughts? How do you see this? Whatever, that kind of thing. So I really like to use questions to diffuse and not get into the space of being defensive or someone having to like dig their heels in. Well, this is how I am. I'm just like this. And we don't want to feel like that, because that instills that fixed mindset. Well, I'm just this way. I'm just this way. I'm just always going to be this way, rather than the openness of the growth mindset that says, I have been this way, but there's no reason I have to stay that way. But we get to each individually choose when and how we're going to change and shift. So we can't force someone else to do that, which may feel frustrating.
Yeah. I hear a lot. Actually hear that a lot among couples, is one partner like, well, this is just how I am. You knew this is how I was when you married me. You knew what you were getting into. Don't try to change me now, right?
Mhm.
Don't try to change me. They feel like it feels like you're controlling your partner. That's how they're
Yeah.
receiving the love
Sure.
that you're trying to get them. It's a miscommunication, right?
Mhm.
But like you said, if you go in with seeking to understand your partner and where they're coming from, like it does create that safe space. And I always ask, okay, so what if this is who your partner is for the rest of your life? It's not your responsibility to try to change them. How are you going to change you? What boundaries do you have in place? What communication style do you have in place? And these are all wonderful thoughts of contemplation. It makes me think about, remember like when you were in college and you were taking a class for the first time and it was a whole new, you were learning all these new concepts that your teenage brain like really hadn't had a chance to absorb yet. And when you come out of class, you're kind of like hyped up and you go and talk to your friends about it and you're like, girl, you will not believe what I learned in class today, right? We can do the same thing in our partnerships. As you are going along the spiritual path, as you're
Mhm.
sharing the things that you learn from a place of your own curiosity, your own amazement, you're sharing that and then just asking, what do you think about that? Have you ever thought about like, what do you think about meditation? What do you think about A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Like whatever spiritual practices you have begun to incorporate or started to learn more about. I think there's something so magnetic about the way that we communicate. When you communicate with passion and
Mhm.
excitement, it draws people in. It's going to draw
Yeah.
your partner in, and they are hopefully going to also want to understand, oh, well, she seems really excited. I want some of whatever she's taking. What's going on? Which is
Yes.
why when we honor ourselves, we give permission for the people around us to do their own spiritual growth without us having to force it.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. And I think that there's also, I think, so way back at the front end of that, when you said, when we have partners who show up and say, hey, you knew when we did this, that this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that we really, as the partner, have to honor that and not force something on them that we agreed to in the beginning. So it doesn't mean that we're accepting that they're never going to change. But I know that I knew from the beginning my husband does not like to dance. We will never choose an event where the sole focus is dancing. Like that's just not, he's like, you knew that. So if you want to go with your sisters or your friends or whatever, or we're here, just go, that's fine. But you know that, and I'm not ever gonna, that's not a thing that is a deal breaker. So, and I knew that. So I need to honor that. Same with like, you knew that I was not a workout guy when we got married. So I don't know why you're thinking that now, 30 years later, I want to ride your Peloton. Like, that's not who I am. I like to work in the yard. I liked whatever. So accepting some of those things. And I think it gets tricky when we get in the space of growth because we do want our partners. I think that the most magnetic way, and were saying the same thing, is for us to be excited and not judgmental
Mm.
of where our partner is, but to be excited and to share it from a place of love and allow them to be interested and do it at their own pace and not expect more of them than they're ready to give.
And I think honoring the vulnerable place that we're all probably coming from when we do go to share this with our partner, right? Like, I remember doing this for the first time and dipping my toe in and being like, please accept this. Please accept this. Don't judge this. Please make me feel good about this because it feels really, really good. Right.
Mhm.
And that's essentially like I was giving my power away to my partner. Like,
Yes.
that's not fair. If I hear an awesome song on the radio and it's my new favorite song and I go and share it with someone else and they don't love it, I'm like, girl, I don't know what is wrong with you. I love this song. I'm sorry that you don't love it, but I still love it. Like, everything can be that
Right.
way.
Yep.
Our
Yep.
joy does not have to be dependent on someone else. Our growth does not have to be dependent on someone else. And if it is, I really, really encourage you to ask yourself where that's coming from. And please feel free to reach out to Kari, to myself. We can help you kind of navigate that conversation with yourself, with your partner, gain the insight that you really need to feel grounded and like really rooted in who you are and what you want, and allow your relationship to grow regardless of what your partner is doing.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's, yeah.
Do you have anything
Oh,
else you want to add, Kari?
I don't. I really feel like that's like, in a nutshell,
That's the meat.
that's it. That's the thing, is that we have to be understanding, we have to be curious, accepting, and share from a place of love and excitement and acceptance of where our partner is and allow them their own journey.
Yes. And
Yeah.
if you're struggling with that, know that it's okay. I think I'm going to go on another little tangent
Okay.
here, but I think we put this unrealistic expectations, especially on our spouses, that your spouse is your everything.
Mm.
Your spouse is your everything. They check every single box. They fill
Ooh,
every single need.
ooh, that is not a recipe for super success.
No, it sets your relationship up for failure.
Yeah.
It puts so much pressure on your partner and really takes away the empowerment from yourself. If you're constantly expecting one other person to fill every single need, you're going to be chasing that high for the rest of your life. Like, that is not
Yes. Yes.
an achievable goal. So
Yes.
as you're achieving your own spiritual growth, as you're finding maybe your partner isn't on that path yet, maybe they are in this space where they're filling this little box, there's an entire community available to you to help nurture that growth that isn't meant to put distance between you and your partner. It's meant to aid in your own personal growth, which as a result will strengthen your relationships with your partner
Yes.
and everyone else in your
Yes.
life.
You
So
find
welcome
those
to the
people,
community.
you find those people who understand where you're at and let them fill in the space. Yes. 100%.
So if you are not a member yet of the Mind Body Collective, you should be. Do it and you're cool. We hold classes many nights a week for meditation, Reiki, sound healing, breath work, all the things that you might need in your toolbox for your spiritual journey. There's a whole community of people that are here and ready to support you on that
And
path.
And if you're not local to where we are, we have an online class and we have online content. Our Tuesday night class is meant for anybody, anywhere that wants to join and be a part of these kinds of things that Roxy and I are talking about. And we have a way for you to connect with everyone who's also doing that. It's amazing. So
Yes.
comment, send us a message, say, I want to know more. Where do I find out? And we will get you anything you need to investigate and figure out if this is right for you. So, yeah.
Yes. Thanks for
Okay.
tuning in, everybody.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Comment, send us questions. We would love to hear from you. Okay. See ya.